Good morning, and thank you for joining us for a live talk with Amy, who is a social value manager at the Art Group, where she manages the apprenticeships and work placements. It's great to see so many schools and individuals joining us today. To celebrate National Apprenticeship Week, Amy will talk about how she started her career path in the construction industry via an apprenticeship route. You will hear all about the qualities and benefits of being an apprentice, whilst understanding the distinct levels of taking an apprenticeship route to aid your future career. Please feel free to ask any questions by putting them into the chat, and Amy will aim to answer as many as she can at the end of her talk. So that's enough from me. I will hand you over to Amy. Good morning, Amy.
Morning, thanks Lisa. Morning everyone, so I'm Amy Packer, and as Lisa's mentioned, I'm going to be going through my journey into construction, and then we'll talk a bit about different careers available in construction, and then go on to how you can get apprenticeships and kind of what the apprenticeships are. So my journey into construction, it wasn't really a traditional journey that everyone goes through like the trade way, but where it all started. So in May 2013, I completed my A-levels, where I passed accounts, graphic designs and IT. Originally, I was passionate about being a graphic designer, and that was kind of my aim, to go on to that and do a degree in graphic designs, which was due to start in September 2013. However, due to family situations, financial situations, it meant that I couldn't attend university. So I was a bit stuck on kind of what to do next, what the plan was. And that's when I attended a careers fair, which I'm sure you will get a chance to do at some point. So I attended a local careers fair, and that's where I found out about apprenticeships, which I'd never heard of before, and let alone in construction. So I searched for hundreds of apprenticeships, and to be honest, just applied for everything I could find, just to give it a go, see what it was. And within a few weeks, I got invited to an interview where I got given an apprenticeship in Level 2 Business Administration. This was with a construction company called Lake House. And when they told me it was construction, I thought, they work in an office. I thought everyone was builders or electricians. I didn't realise there was all these other roles which we're going to go through today as well. So I got the apprenticeship. But it wasn't easy from there. It took me 2 hours to get to work every day on public transport, train and a bus. So it was a long journey. But the dedication, commitment meant that I never missed a day. After completing my Level 2 apprenticeship, I was offered the Level 3. And we'll go into a bit more kind of what the levels mean further in the presentation. And then in May 2015, I was awarded Apprenticeship of the Year, which I was really proud of. And following the completion of my apprenticeship, I was offered a full-time position at the company I did my apprenticeship at, which was Lake House at the time, which after 5 years, unfortunately, I was made redundant. So obviously I'd never even heard what redundancy was at this time. I was still very young, didn't really know kind of what you do when that happens. But luckily, already having my apprenticeship and already having them skills that were transferable helped me with getting another role within the industry, which is where I moved to Art Group. So I've actually now been with Art Group for 4 years. After 2 years at the company, I was promoted to their social value manager. This is where I get the opportunity to support our apprentices, help people into construction, do careers talks, do things like this, help with work experience. So it's just to show you that you don't have to go down the traditional university route if it's not 100% for you. There is options of apprenticeships, and you can still get into management roles. I never thought by doing an apprenticeship that after 9 years in the industry that I would end up managing apprentices within our business. And at ARC we have 17 apprentices, so there's a lot of people to look after. So now we're going to go into understanding the careers available in construction. So a lot of people ask, what is construction? And kind of what it entails. Construction is the built environment and all the work that's going on around you. It creates where we live, so it creates your homes. It creates where you learn. So the school that you're all in right now, that was built by a construction company. If you're having any refurbishment works done in the school, that would be in a construction company. It creates where we work. So offices and buildings, to our theatres. So this was a refurbishment we done during the COVID for up at the West End. To our leisure centres. So this is actually leisure centre out in Essex. And then more recently, there's a lot more focus on sustainability and a lot more construction being involved in providing energy to help save the planet. So you can see the picture to the left there is the installation of PV panels, which are actually on our office. And then we install EV charging points, and more recently started doing something called air source heat pumps, which some people have in homes and buildings, and they draw the air in from the atmosphere and then provide energy. So altogether creates a fantastic industry. So I get asked this a lot of the time, isn't construction just for boys? So obviously, clearly it's not. I work in the construction industry and women make up 14% of the construction industry, which is rising. It's still low, and still many people think that certain roles are only for certain people, but it's just to let you know that you can do any job role that you put your mind to. And construction is an exciting career. So during COVID, during the lockdown, it's one of the only industries that carried on running. There was still a lot of work needed. People still needed boilers service. People still needed electrics fixed, needed leaks fixing. So there was still a lot of work going on in the industry. And it creates the world we live in and provides fantastic career opportunities. So roughly it employs around 3 million people, and as mentioned, only 14% of them are women, but there's great progression routes within the industry. So what makes an exciting career? There's careers that suit everyone. So you might think, oh no, I'll be no good at that. I'm only good at maths. I'm only good at that side of things. But there's job roles that can relate to your skill set. And there's lots of opportunities to travel and work abroad. For example, a colleague of mine recently has moved to Dubai to go and work out there. So there's lots of different opportunities to travel and still carry on your job in construction. There's a link that's on the screen here, which I think Lisa and the team are going to share after. It takes you to a Go Construct website. It's a little short quiz that maybe you can do at some point in your own time. And then you just do a little personality quiz and it suggests some job roles that might be suited to you as a person. And then gives you an idea of how you can kind of get into them roles and the progression opportunities for them. It's a really good little quiz to do. So this is an example of some of the careers in the construction industry. Some of these you might have heard of, some of them you might have never heard of, and we'll just touch on a couple of them. So I mentioned earlier, if you enjoy maths and them sort of roles, there's some good opportunities in construction for that. So quantity surveyor is a really good opportunity if you enjoy maths. Quantity surveying is, say, the classrooms that you are in now. If your teacher decided that they needed someone to come in and completely decorate it, new windows, new doors, everything, someone would come and price that project. So they would come in there and say how much paint you need, how much the doors would cost, the windows, they would say everything, and they would price the project. So there's good degree opportunities for that via an apprenticeship as well. You've got your scaffolders on there, your roofers, your plumbers, your carpenters, so there's lots of different job roles. And then your architects as well, which people forget about within the construction industry sometimes, if you enjoy design. BIM managers is another side of the design. So I'm sure you all know about virtual reality and all enjoy things like that, maybe enjoy computer games. BIM managers are the people that design the buildings prior to them being built. So they will create a 3D model of what the building looks like. You can have the virtual reality headsets and you can actually walk through the building to see the layout. So they're really good career opportunities. This is just touching on some of the breakdowns of the job roles. So these are design and management roles. So as mentioned, if you enjoy design, you haven't got to be a great drawer. It's not all about drawing. A lot of it's online as well. Like I say, with the BIM side of things. So if you enjoy the design side, architecture, landscape architecture, and then you've got management roles, project management, construction management, you have your site managers. So a lot of the management roles people develop on from starting at a lower apprenticeship, and then they can grow through. Engineering and surveying, so we touched upon the surveying roles. You also have what's called a building surveyor and an estimator. And then engineering roles, so you've got civil engineering, structural engineering and building service engineers. So there's some great apprenticeship routes for engineering. But then you get the roles that people kind of forget about, as I mentioned at the start, the non-construction roles, but which are still needed in the office within the construction industry. So you have your IT team, you have your legal team, finance, which is where all our accountants and that side of things are, human resources. So they look after the team, help people book their annual leave, support people with like their well-being and their mental health and that side of things. Business administration, which support all of our project teams and provide administration within the office. And then corporate social responsibility, which is social value, which is my job role, as mentioned at the start, support the apprentices and help people into construction. So different kind of routes into construction. So we have a few different routes into construction, which being the apprenticeship. So what is an apprenticeship? So some of you might have heard the word, but not necessarily know kind of how it happens or how it works. So it's a combination of off-the-job learning. So you would attend college or university, depending on what level qualification you're doing. You would attend there 1 day a week, and then the other 4 days of the week you would be in employment. So it's a great opportunity to get on-site experience while gaining your qualification. Something that really sold apprenticeships to me was getting paid while being in education still. So you get full-time paid employment, which was brilliant for me. Apprenticeship wage just start at the lower end, but they're also paying for your qualification. So my business administration apprenticeship was £18,000, which was covered for by my employers. Which obviously was brilliant for me. I've got no debt, I don't have to pay that back now. So that was the biggest selling point for me. And it's an opportunity to develop skills. So you're working with people that have been in your position before, they've started where you were, and you can ask them questions, you can learn from them, you can get guidance from them, which was really helpful. It's an opportunity to start a successful career. As I mentioned, I never thought I'd become a manager, and that's something that's been a great opportunity to me. And then you're highly valued by your employers. They've put that time, they've put the effort into you. Sometimes apprenticeships are for 2 years, sometimes they're for 4 years, depending on the level of qualification you're doing. But they've put the time into you, so they want to support you in your journey. Here's a list of some of the craft apprenticeships. As mentioned, we've touched upon some of the roles already, but these are some apprenticeships that are out there in the craft. So, like for example, electricians, they're 4-year apprenticeships, so are plumbers. At the end of the plumbing apprenticeship, you also get to do your gas safe, which is a brilliant selling point. And then you also have like your roofers, which are the 2-year apprenticeships. And then your more technical apprenticeships, which are more your degree sort of levels, where we touched upon this engineering, the surveying, that side of it. So higher degree apprenticeships. So earning and learning, the same as a traditional apprenticeship, but this will mean you can get a degree. So the different levels of apprenticeship, so the trade ones start at the level 2, which are equivalent to like GCSE level. A-level apprenticeships are equivalent to level 3. So it kind of builds up, and then you can see you go on to your level 4 and your level 5, which is where you can get your HNCs and your degrees. A lot of the time when you start an apprenticeship, if you're starting at the level 2, level 3, they ask that you have a minimum of a C, which is grade 4, I believe, in English and maths. If for any reason you've had any problems achieving them grades, some colleges will support you during your apprenticeship to work towards them, but it will save yourself a lot of time, and it'd be really helpful if you already had them in place. And that's it from me. So the future is yours, and feel free to ask any questions. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Amy. That was absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much. It was really informative and interesting, and we're sure that our audience is more aware of what an apprenticeship route can offer them. There's lots of questions coming in, so I'm going to hand you over to my colleague Sophie, and she'll put those to you.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, so good morning, Amy.
Morning.
We do have lots of questions coming in, which is great. So the first one we've got is, what's your favourite project that you've worked on?
Oh, I think it's something we're currently doing at the moment. So actually just finished it. So we was doing Chelmsford Theatres out in Essex. So we was refurbishing the theatres over there. So if you have a little look online, there's some really good photos of what it looked like before and what it looks like now. But that was a really big project of us. It was in the Chelmsford town centre, and we had to get the theatre ready for them to start doing their productions. So that was really exciting, and it's a complete transformation. So yeah, I really enjoyed that project.
Fantastic. Okay. Was it hard work studying and working at the same time?
Yes, it wasn't easy, I'm not going to lie. You have to put the commitment in. You have to make sure you set time aside. I found it really useful. I would stay after work for like an hour and kind of use that time to get some coursework completed and do that side of it. So yeah, 1 or 2 days a week I would stay at work a bit later, obviously because then I could use the computer, I can use all their facilities and be able to get some coursework done. But yeah, it's really important, like I'm sure it's the same when you're doing coursework, keeping on top of it and making sure you do it in your own time as well, and not just expecting like it all to be done at the last minute.
Okay, great. So leading on from that question, I've got one here. How many hours a week did you study?
Well, I attended college once a week, which was probably about 6 or 7 hours I was at college, and then yeah, 1 or 2 days a week I would stay an hour or two, so probably including the college day about 10 hours a week. Okay.
So what's the favourite part of your job?
The favourite part of my job is doing things like this, actually, introducing people into construction, letting people know they're not just builders, they're not just electricians, there's so many more roles available, and seeing people, their faces light up and see, oh, actually, I could do that, that is something I could achieve, and that's my favourite part, giving people that apprenticeship and giving people that opportunity to get into construction.
Okay. I've got a question. Do you have to travel the country to follow the projects?
So it's dependent on what role you're working in. So there's a lot of construction work within London. You've probably seen a lot of cranes going on, a lot of work. So a lot of the time you can kind of work within the London area. But sometimes depending on your role, so if you're a project manager, you might have to work on a particular project. For example, I was talking to the team before the call. We've just won a project in Oxford. So I will have to visit that project a couple of times and see how we can support the local area there. But yeah, it's completely dependent on what role you go into, but there's options there to be able to travel, which I think is what sells the construction industry really, is a great opportunity for that. And a lot of the office-based roles as well, there is opportunities to work from home and do the hybrid working, which again, you can do that from anywhere and you can be living anywhere and working anywhere, which I think is a really good selling point.
Brilliant. Okay. What's the best part of your day?
The best part of my day, I think, would probably be in the mornings. I'm a morning person. I like to come in quite early, check all my emails and kind of go through them. But I also like seeing everyone in the office. I like that environment, catching up with everyone, seeing how their evenings were. That's kind of my favourite part of the day, finding out what new projects we've won and seeing kind of what the day is going to entail.
Do you say then that people are quite sociable then? Is it quite a sociable place to work?
Yeah, definitely. I think both on site and in the office. When I started in construction, I remember walking into the office and I was the only female in the office. And I was a bit like, oh no, like what's going on? But everyone was so friendly, so approachable, so helpful. And it was a great environment to be within. And like I say, everyone's so friendly and helps one another, especially going through the apprenticeship stage, because they know you're there to learn and they're willing to help support you with that.
Okay, I think there's a couple more questions. If you didn't do your current job, what would you do instead?
I think I would probably go into graphic designs. I still do like the design side of things, but now I've been it's opened my eyes to a lot more roles in construction. I think I might go down like the BIM manager sort of route, or the architect sort of route. I like the idea of that side of things. But equally, I absolutely love what I do now. So I don't know if I would actually change it.
Okay. Oh, so somebody is asking about earning potential in this industry. So are you able to just give a brief overview of that?
Yeah. So like as mentioned, apprenticeship wage kind of starts quite low. So the national apprenticeship wage is around the £45 a day sort of mark, £50 a day, that sort of area. But as I say, they are paying for your qualification. If you was going into a trade-based role, like your electricians, your plumbers, they can be on like 30k once you're qualified. But the good thing about the trade-based roles is there's a lot of opportunity for obviously private work, friends, family. We'll always need electrical work done or plumbing or some painting. So there's a lot of opportunity for that. If you're going into sort of management roles and site management roles, you could be looking at anything from £50,000 to £60,000 a year. But again, it's completely dependent on kind of where you see your journey, where you want to go. That personality quiz that I mentioned on there, when you get allocated kind of a job role that might be suited to your role, that will give you kind of an idea of potential earnings. So that would give you where you kind of start and at the end of your journey, kind of where you could aim to and you're working towards salary.
Fantastic. Okay, I think that might be, I think we're coming to the end of all the questions, but
and I think we've got a few more just coming in now, actually. It's just updating. Somebody's asked here, is if you started an apprenticeship and then found that you really didn't like it, would that mean that you have to leave?
So I think that's a good point, actually. So if you think you want to do something, for example, maybe you think, I really want to be an electrician. I think it's important to do some work experience first. If you can get a week's work experience or a couple of days, you can get anything just to see if you actually enjoy it before you sign up to an apprenticeship. But you're not stuck. It's not once you sign up, that's it. You've signed your life away. It's not like that. You can sign up to the apprenticeship, and if it really isn't something you're enjoying, speak to your employer, explain to them why you're not enjoying it, and ask them if there's any other options, and see if there's anything else you can do. It might be a case of you leaving and going somewhere else to do something else you enjoy, but there might be options for employers to kind of see what else they have. But yeah, I think it's really important to try and get some work experience if you can, even if it's during the school holidays, even if you can just go and if you have friends, family, or you've got a local construction company that might be doing some work near your school, if you can ask them if they can do anything. I think that's really key to see if you like something from doing work experience before signing up to that.
No, that's a really good point. Thanks very much, Amy. And you mentioned earlier that it was unfortunate you didn't get to go to uni, but it sounds as if it all worked out for you in the end. But have you ever felt at any point, have you missed out on the uni experience, or were you as apprentices able to socialise and be together so that you have that sort of friendship and social life too?
Yeah, I think because I was attending college still once a week, I still had that opportunity to have that college or university life. I made some really good friends. I finished, like I say, my college course about 7 years ago, and I'm still friends with some of the girls I went to college with now, which is lovely. And you meet a lot of people through work as well. And the biggest selling point to me was a lot of my friends did go to university. I decided to obviously do the apprenticeship route, but they were going to university. They were struggling for money. They didn't really have an opportunity to earn much money, and at that time I had the opportunity to save a lot of money because I was working. So that really helped me, and really helped me in kind of my personal life as well. Allowed me to be able to buy a house and things like that, where a lot of my friends are still a couple of years behind on that because they took a different journey, which works for them. Everyone's got different career paths, but for me personally, I don't feel like I missed out on that uni life, because I still made a lot of friends through work and college.
Yeah, I do appreciate this is apprenticeship week, but it may be worthwhile just mentioning that your company also does placements, so that could be the another opportunity.
Yep, so we do.
How do they find out about those placements, and also when is the right time to apply for the apprenticeships?
Yeah, so we do work placements. These can be for a couple of days or a week, depending on kind of what suits yourself. Depending on what kind of role you wanted to do. Our offices are based in North London, so we can offer a lot of work placements within the office area. So we can always pass my details on after if Lisa's okay with that. With the work experience side of things, if you have a certain time that your school delivers work experience, I don't know, in February or March, just kind of let me know and we can kind of try and facilitate 1 or 2 placements, and kind of make it work. We don't really have set in stone. We only do placements in July. We kind of have it quite open and want to be able to suit young people and people that want to get into the industry, really. As far as apprenticeship vacancies, they get advertised on our website. And there's also a really good website called Talent View, where a lot of construction companies advertise apprenticeship vacancies. So it's a great website. If you're thinking you might want to do apprenticeships, but you're not too sure, have a little look on there. See kind of, even if you're not taking up an apprenticeship until next year, have a look on there, see what's out there at the moment, see kind of what your options are, and if it is something you'd like to go into. So it's a really good website as well.
Thank you. We will share all the links with the attendees after the event. And let's just finish up with one final question. You're very passionate about your role. It comes across, which is lovely to see. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time, Amy?
Oh, I never know this question. It's a really hard question. I've always struggled with this. So I love what I do now, and I hope to see myself maybe supporting further people into construction. I'd like to maybe potentially look at running some sort of charity and supporting people to get into construction, and highlighting kind of them opportunities available and creating a bit of a programme of work placements and giving people that opportunity, really. But yeah, I don't really have the answer to that, to be honest with you, Lisa.
No, just take each day as it comes. But yeah, there is a plan there. So yeah, and congratulations to where you are now. So thank you very much, Amy. That was just so interesting, and we thank you for giving up your time. Just to let everybody know that we have live and pre-recorded talks every day this week, so take a look at our website and hopefully you can join us for another talk. Again, we'll put all the links after the event to you. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of Apprenticeship Week. Take care. Bye.